The morning light slanted through the Venetian blinds, casting striped shadows across Sarah Mitchell's apartment as she wrestled with the buttons of her navy blazer. Her fingers, typically deft from years of balancing spreadsheets and diaper changes, trembled with fatigue. Her 6-month-old daughter, Emma, had been restless all night, her tiny body hot with fever. Dark circles framed Sarah's eyes, no amount of concealer able to mask the toll of sleepless hours. Today was critical. A pitch to the board at Crestwood Financial could secure her a senior analyst role, a step up that promised stability for her and Emma, a necessity for a single mother drowning in medical bills and rent. Be good for Mrs. Lopez today, sweet girl, Sarah murmured, brushing a kiss across Emma's forehead. The baby gurgled, her hazel eyes, eerily similar to those of a man Sarah had met only once, sparkling with innocent trust. The resemblance was a quiet ache, a reminder of a fleeting moment she'd tried to bury. Don't you fret, querida, Mrs. Lopez, her kind-hearted neighbor, said as she cradled Emma. Go dazzle those suits. I've got this little angel. Sarah managed a grateful smile before rushing out, her portfolio clutched tightly as she navigated the crowded Chicago subway. Bodies pressed close, the air thick with the scent of coffee and damp coats. She mentally rehearsed her pitch, a data-driven strategy to expand Crestwood's investment portfolio into sustainable markets. The promotion would mean better insurance, remote work options, and a salary to give Emma the life she deserved. At Crestwood's sleek downtown tower, Sarah stepped into the elevator, pressing the button for the 38th floor. Her reflection in the mirrored doors showed a woman projecting poise, second-hand designer suit, hair swept into a tidy chignon, expression calm despite the chaos of her life. No one needed to know she'd spent the night rocking a feverish baby, or that her fridge held little more than a half-empty carton of milk, or that one late bill could unravel everything. Cutting it close, Mitchell, came a sharp voice as Sarah entered the office. Lauren Baxter, with her polished auburn hair and nepotism-fueled rise to team lead, leaned against a filing cabinet, smirking. Late night with that kid of yours. Single mom life must be exhausting. Her tone carried just enough venom to draw glances from nearby cubicles. Good morning, Lauren, Sarah replied, keeping her voice steady, sidestepping the jab. The office rumor mill had churned since her return from maternity leave. Who was Emma's father? Why was Sarah so secretive? Could she handle the demands of a senior role? The whispers trailed her like a shadow. Boardroom in 10, Lauren said with mock sweetness. I've got the projector ready for you. Wouldn't want any hiccups. Sarah nodded, sensing the trap in Lauren's offer. At her desk, she reviewed her slides one last time when her phone vibrated, a text from Mrs. Lopez. Emma's fever is up again. Might need you soon. Sarah's chest tightened. She typed a quick reply, promising to rush back after the pitch, then headed to the boardroom. The room buzzed with executives when she arrived. Lauren sat near the front, whispering to David Klein, the department head. Other directors took their seats, exuding the effortless confidence of those who'd never questioned their place. Sarah, right on time, David said, glancing at his watch with a pointed smile. Let's not keep the board waiting. Sarah connected her laptop, her stomach knotting as the projector hummed to life. But instead of her carefully crafted slides, a photo flashed on the screen. Sarah in the hospital, exhausted but radiant, holding newborn Emma. Gasps rippled through the room, followed by stifled laughter. Lauren's feigned shock barely hid her glee. Oh, Sarah, wrong file. Lauren exclaimed. How embarrassing. Sarah's face burned as she yanked the cable, her hands shaking. She'd kept her personal life locked away, never sharing photos at work. Someone had hacked her files. Technical glitch, David said, irritation clear. Can someone else present while Sarah fixes this? Before anyone could respond, the door swung open. The room fell silent as Ethan Caldwell, Crestwood's CEO, entered. At 40, Ethan carried the weight of inherited wealth and self-made success, his sharp decisions having tripled the company's portfolio in a decade. His rare presence in routine meetings was enough to make spines straighten. Don't stop for me, Ethan said, his voice smooth but commanding. I'm here to observe. His gaze swept the room, pausing briefly on Sarah before he settled at the head of the table. The atmosphere tightened, Ethan's reputation for precision left no room for error. Sarah fumbled with her backup USB, her promotion chances slipping through her fingers. I believe Ms. Mitchell was about to present, Ethan said, his tone leaving no room for debate. Yes, sir, David said, shooting Sarah a look. Whenever you're ready. Sarah plugged in the USB, her slides finally appearing. Taking a steadying breath, she launched into her pitch, outlining a bold plan to capture eco-conscious investors. Her voice grew steadier with each slide, the room's initial awkwardness giving way to engagement as executives leaned in, nodding at her projections. Even Lauren's attempts to derail her with pointed questions fell flat against Sarah's thorough responses. Strong work, Ms. Mitchell, Ethan said when she finished, his expression neutral but his eyes sharp. I'd like detailed risk assessments by tomorrow morning. Can you manage that? Yes, Mr. Caldwell, Sarah replied, her pulse racing with cautious hope. As the meeting ended, Sarah packed up, desperate to check on Emma. Her phone showed 2 more missed calls from Mrs. Lopez. Sarah, Ethan called as the others left. A moment, please. Alone with the CEO, Sarah braced herself. Ethan stood by the window, the Chicago skyline framing his tall figure. Your pitch was solid, he said without turning. But that photo, your daughter, I presume. Sir, I'm sorry for the mix-up, Sarah began, her voice tight. It was unprofessional. How old is she? Ethan interrupted, facing her now. His eyes, those same hazel eyes, held an intensity that made her falter. 6 months, Sarah said warily. Born in March. Ethan's jaw tightened. March, he repeated, almost to himself. 9 months after the Seattle summit. Sarah's breath caught. The Seattle summit, a whirlwind night at a hotel bar, a charming stranger named Ethan, no last name given, no promises made. She'd learned his true identity the next day when she saw him on a conference stage, the untouchable CEO. By then, he was gone, and she was left with a secret she'd vowed to keep. Sarah, Ethan said, stepping closer, his voice low. That night in Seattle, we were both there. And those eyes, they're mine, aren't they? Her heart pounded. I don't know what you're implying, she said, though her voice wavered. That night had been a reckless escape from her crumbling personal life, a moment of connection she hadn't expected to carry consequences. I think you do, Ethan said, softer now. Is Emma mine? Before she could respond, her phone rang, Mrs. Lopez again. Sarah, Emma's fever is 102.5. You need to come now. I'm on my way, Sarah said, grabbing her bag. Tell her I'm coming. She turned to Ethan, who was watching her with a mix of concern and determination. My daughter's sick. I have to go. Our daughter, Ethan corrected quietly. Let me drive you. My car's faster than the subway. Sarah wanted to argue, to protect the walls she'd built, but Emma's needs came first. She nodded curtly. The elevator ride was silent, the air thick with unspoken questions. Colleagues stared as they exited together, Sarah's distress and Ethan's unusual attentiveness fueling the rumor mill. In the basement garage, Ethan's black SUV waited. Sarah gave Mrs. Lopez's address in a working-class neighborhood, the contrast to Ethan's world stark as they settled into the leather seats. When did you know? Ethan asked as they merged into traffic. Sarah stared out the window. I suspected when I found out I was pregnant. But you were Ethan Caldwell, Billionaire CEO. I was a junior analyst. What was I supposed to do? Show up at your office with a sonogram. You could have told me, Ethan said, his voice tight. I had a right to know. You made it clear in Seattle you weren't looking for anything serious, Sarah shot back. You didn't even use your real name. How was I supposed to trust you with my daughter? Ethan's hands tightened on the wheel. That was for discretion, to evaluate staff without the CEO title hanging over me. I never meant to deceive you. They lapsed into silence as the city gave way to modest row houses. At Mrs. Lopez's building, Sarah bolted from the car, Ethan close behind. Neighbors gawked at the sleek SUV parked among beat-up sedans. Mrs. Lopez opened the door, relief flooding her face. She's been crying, poor thing. Her eyes widened at Ethan. Who's this? It's complicated, Sarah muttered, rushing to Emma's crib. The baby's cheeks were flushed, her cries weak. Sarah scooped her up, whispering, Mommy's here, love. Ethan stood nearby, his expression shifting to something raw as he studied Emma. She's beautiful, he said softly. She has your smile. Mrs. Lopez tactfully retreated to the kitchen. Sarah focused on Emma, but Ethan's presence was impossible to ignore. "We need a doctor," she said. "Her pediatrician's nearby. I've got a better option." Ethan was already on his phone. "Dr. Patel, Ethan Caldwell. I need you at this address immediately. 6-month-old, high fever." He hung up. "My personal physician. He'll be here in 10. Sarah stared. "You can't just." "I can, and I will," Ethan said firmly. "For my daughter." Dr. Patel arrived swiftly, diagnosing a viral infection and prescribing medication Ethan's driver retrieved within minutes. Sarah watched Ethan absorb every detail, his focus solely on Emma. This wasn't the detached CEO she'd expected, this was a man whose world had been upended. Once Emma slept, fever easing, Sarah and Ethan stepped onto Mrs. Lopez's tiny balcony. "Why didn't you tell me?" Ethan asked, his voice softer but still laced with hurt. "I was scared," Sarah admitted. "Scared of losing my job, of being the office scandal, of Emma becoming gossip fodder. And honestly, I didn't think you'd care. You thought I'd walk away from my own child." Ethan's voice cracked. "You don't know me at all." "Exactly," Sarah said. "I don't. One night doesn't make us family." "Then let me change that," Ethan said. "I'm not going anywhere." Back inside, Mrs. Lopez reported Emma was stable. Sarah gathered her things, but Ethan insisted on driving them home. At her small apartment, he carried Emma's car seat up the stairs, his presence jarring in her modest space. "I'll stay until she wakes," he said, settling the car seat on her worn couch. Sarah nodded, too tired to argue. The next morning, she woke to find Ethan reading to Emma, the baby giggling at his animated rendition of a bored book. "Her fever's down," he said. "I gave her the meds in a bottle." "You stayed," Sarah noted, taking in his rumpled suit. "Of course," Ethan said. "She's my daughter." Over coffee and a breakfast. Ethan's driver had delivered, they began navigating their new reality. "We need to figure this out," Ethan said. "Custody, support, how we handle work." Sarah tensed. "And your image. The bachelor CEO with a secret baby doesn't exactly fit your brand." "My image is a tool, not who I am," Ethan said. "I grew up with parents who prioritized wealth over family. I won't do that to Emma. I want her to know she's loved." Sarah's phone buzzed, David, demanding her presence at a meeting. Ethan's absence was also raising eyebrows. "We're both expected at work," she said. "She can't go to daycare yet," Ethan said. "I'll arrange care in my office suite." Within an hour, they were at Crestwood. Emma settled with Ethan's trusted former nanny, Ms. Ellis, in his private office. A monitor allowed Sarah to check on her daughter during the meeting, but Lauren's smirks and the whispers of colleagues made focus impossible. Post-meeting, Ethan asked Sarah to stay. "I have a solution," he said. "Marry me." Sarah laughed, shocked. "You're joking." "It's practical," Ethan said. "It protects Emma, neutralizes gossip, and gives us time to build something real." "Marriage isn't a strategy," Sarah snapped. "Emma deserves love, not a contract." Before Ethan could respond, Lauren burst in, waving her phone with a photo of Emma in Ms. Ellis's arms. The office pool was right. "She's yours, isn't she, Mr. Caldwell?" Ethan's expression turned icy. "Ms. Baxter, photographing private spaces violates policy. You're terminated. Delete the photo, or legal will handle it." Lauren's bravado crumbled. She deleted the image and left, the office buzzing in her wake. Ethan addressed the onlookers. "Personal matters are private. Anyone who disagrees can resign." Alone again, Sarah sank into a chair. "This is a mess." "Liam isn't a mess," Ethan said, kneeling beside her. "We'll figure this out together." They returned to Ethan's office, where Emma slept under Ms. Ellis's care. Over the next week, they retreated to Ethan's lakeside estate, a quiet space to navigate their new dynamic. Sarah saw a different Ethan, attentive, vulnerable, a man who wanted more than a corporate empire. One evening, he showed her a gold watch, his grandfather's, engraved with a family motto about love over legacy. "I want Emma to have this," he said. "To know she's more than a Caldwell." Sarah softened. "I'm not ready for marriage," she said. "But I'm open to trying, for Emma, and maybe for us." Ethan smiled, a real, unguarded smile. "That's enough for now." 6 months later, on Emma's first birthday, Sarah watched Ethan and their daughter splash in the lake, the watch on her wrist a reminder of their journey. Her promotion to senior analyst had come with new policies supporting working parents, silencing office gossip. Ethan had proven himself a devoted father and a partner she was learning to trust. As they laughed together, Sarah knew the unexpected had become their greatest gift, a family built not on secrets but on love.